Chapter 14, Setups, when things take an unexpected turn for the better. It's your boy Var B. It's been a few weeks since your boy went live, posted vid, dropped post, all that. What's good? What's going on? We back today with a read from the book of the Stoic Challenge, A Philosopher's Guide to Becoming Tougher, Calmer, and More Reason. What's going on? Hey, hope everybody having a blessed morning. Comment where you from. Go ahead, comment some threes if you're feeling blessed this morning. Life is beautiful. Now let's learn something. Sometimes life goes smoothly. The setbacks we encounter are few and easily overcome. This, we might tell ourselves, is how things should always be. Once we start thinking in terms of stoic tests, though, we will respond to such periods with mixed emotions. We might grumble that they deprive us of chances to show our stoic stuff, a concern we can deal with by undertaking stoic adventures. Such a period might also make us nervous. We will worry that the stoic gods are setting us up, that they have arranged this setback-free period to set the stage for a particularly devious stoic test. Allow me to explain. I've mentioned that I'm a rower. Not a very good one, but a committed rower nonetheless. I compete at the master levels. I complete at the master's level, but this statement is potentially misleading. To compete at as a master's rower, a person need not demonstrate a mastery of rowing. He need only be old. To level the playing field, master's rowers are assigned an age-dependent time handicap. As I write this, my handicap is 38 seconds. This means a young person, someone who say 28, will have to do a 1,000-meter race in 38 fewer seconds than I do in order for us to tie in age-adjusted terms. Next year, my handicap will be up to 40 seconds. I can hardly wait. Because of handicapping, the person who crosses the finish line first in the master's race won't necessarily win. Rowers' handicaps have to be subtracted from their elapsed time in order to come up with their age-adjusted time, and the rower with the best age-adjusted time will be declared the winner. It is therefore possible for a very old rower, although the last to cross the finish line, to be declared the winner. Likewise, the person who crosses the finish line first, if he is young, might come in last place in age-adjusted terms. A few years ago, I rode in a 1,000-meter race. My bad, this might not make no sense to some of y'all, but it's gonna get good one of these days. This like we're in the last two chapters. Hold on. Yeah, last two chapters. And I just thought I'd read it with y'all because it's been pretty good lately. Oh, somebody sent some sparkles. Appreciate you. Love E82. But yeah, just enjoy the read. I don't know. A few years ago, I rode in a 1,000-meter race against a competitive field. I rode well. I followed my race plan and didn't make any big mistakes. I successfully fended off Lazy Bill, who put in a dramatic appearance 700 meters into the race. The repeated entreaties to slow down, for God's sake. After completing the race, I docked my boat and carried it back to the trailer. A few minutes later, the results of the race were announced over the venue PA system. I had won. I went off to collect my gold medal, and on being handed it, I felt a rush of success. It was wonderful. I came back to my team's trailer, proudly wearing the medal and eager to show it to my teammates. I described my race-winning strategy to anyone who would listen. How I'd struggled during the last 300 meters and how I thought my heart would explode during the last 5 strokes. I told them yes, it would be okay if they took my picture wearing the medal. And then the PA system crackled back to life. It informed us that there had been a mistake in the previous announcement. The names of the top 3 finishers were read, and mine was not among them. I went to the scoring tent to find out what was going on. It turned out that race officials had accidentally given me an extra minute of age handicap, and once that was removed, I had fallen from first place to last. Grown. I was stunned, but then it dawned on me that I had been the target of a setup. In the setbacks we have examined in this book, the Stoic gods placed an unexpected obstruction in our path. In a setup, they are extraordinarily nice to us, but only in order to set the stage for a subsequent setback. In this case, they created in me the perception that I had won the race, that I had in fact lost. By doing so, they made the setback I subsequently experienced that much worse. It involved an element of self-inflicted public humiliation. It also revealed a streak of stoic hypocrisy in me. After all my talk about how I race as a form of stoic training, here I was, boasting about my victory. Blush. I did my best to regain my equanimity after returning the medal. I congratulated the Stoic gods for their ingenuity and went back to my team's trailer. I explained the timing error to my teammates and lightened things with a touch of self-depreciating humor. The next time I win a race, I told them, I'm not going off to collect the medal. I'm going to the timing tent to demand a recount. The ancient Greeks were well aware of this setup phenomenon. They believed that the goddess Nemesis liked to punish extreme pride and foolish overconfidence, otherwise known as hubris. What particularly irked her were people who not only expected things to go well for them in the future, but also were convinced that they somehow deserved for them to go well. When she discovered such individuals, she would waste no time bringing them back to reality. How dare they think they were immune to setbacks? They were, after all, mere mortals. Nemesis was both powerful and remorseless, and it was impossible to hide from her. She also had a talent for arranging setbacks that, besides being brutal, were ironic. Nemesis is most famous for her punishment of Narcissus, a youth who, because of his good looks, had many admirers, all of whom he spurned. Narcissus, bro, what? This is the weirdest name. Narcissus can be best described as, you guessed it, narcissistic. Okay. He was quite in love with himself. Nemesis consequently went into action. She lured him to a pool in which he could see his own reflection. On seeing it, he found his beauty so compelling that he could not tear himself away, and as a result starved to death. On another occasion, it dawned on the tyrannical king, I can't say his name, that his life was also exceedingly well. He started worrying that Nemesis would take notice and punish him for his good fortune. To assuage, I don't know how to say that word, he made numerous offerings. To persuade her, he made numerous offerings. But his string of good luck continued. Desperate, Polycrates, I can't say that name, sailed out into the ocean and threw his most valuable ring into the water as an offering to Nemesis. Convinced that this would do the job, he sailed back home and decreed that a giant feast be held. His cook ordered that hundreds of fish be caught so they could be served at the feast. The cook cleaned the fish, and when he opened the belly of the largest one, he found the ring Polycrite, I can't say that, had thrown into the sea. It was a sure sign. Polycrite thought that Nemesis had rejected his offering. He became so anxious that he couldn't eat, and like Narcissus, he perished. The Roman Stoics were well aware of the danger presented by a period that was free of setbacks. Seneca warned that although all things in excess bring harm, the great danger comes from good fortune. Excessive good fortune. It stirs the brain, invites the mind to entertain idle fantasies, and shrouds in thick fog the distinction between falsehood and truth. When such a period ends, as it someday surely will, the setback that ends it will seem much worse than it otherwise would. As we have seen, the ancient Stoics weren't opposed to the experience of positive emotions, such as delight and even joy. They cautioned, though, against allowing ourselves to become overjoyed, since doing so increases our chances of being miserable when we are ultimately set back. We should instead take good fortune in stride, the way, ideally, we take bad fortune. Do things right, and other people will be unaware of our fortune, whether it be good or bad. Obviously, I did not follow this advice on winning the above described race. Shame on me. And have I learned my lesson? I hope so, but only time will tell. Some will reject the advice that we keep our good news. Some will reject the advice that we keep our good news to ourselves. They are convinced that we should share our successes with friends and relatives, and that doing so brings our joy into their lives. This can happen, but it is also possible for people to respond in a negative manner to our good news. Suppose, in particular, that as a result of our successes, we start getting cocky, as if this is simply the way things are supposed to be. On detecting such an attitude, friends and relatives are likely to start rooting against us, albeit secretly. They don't think that we are better, harder working, or more deserving than they are. We are just lucky, and here we are, flaunting our luck before them. Suppose that even though we don't publicize our successes, other people become aware of them. Our socially safest response under these circumstances is to attribute our success to luck. It is probably what people already think, so we won't get an argument from them. It also makes them less likely to become unwitting accomplices in the Stoic God's eventual attempt to take us down a notch. In chapter 6, we encountered Daniel Kahneman, who, together with Amos, did pioneering research on anchoring and framing. In 2011, Kahneman wrote a general audience book describing their research, Thinking Fast and Slow. He worried that doing this would damage his professional reputation. Professors aren't supposed to write books like the one you are reading now that normal people can understand and profit from. But he had went ahead and published it anyway. Thinking Fast and Slow soon made the New York Times bestseller list. Astonished, Kahneman sheepishly explained to his colleagues that the book's appearance there was a mistake. When it stubbornly remained on the list, Kahneman modified his story. He told people that it was staying on the list only so that the Times wouldn't have to admit it to having made a mistake in putting it there in the first place. It was clearly envy avoidance. It was a clear envy avoidance maneuver on his part. What's up, folks? Autumn. What did I say? Good morning, everybody. Death, your exit exam. Like it or not, you are going to die. Stoics therefore advise you, even though you may be young and in perfect health, to contemplate your death. Let us explore some of the forms of this contemplation can take. In chapter 6, we encountered the negative visualization technique. In a typical visualization exercise, you imagine and even try to visualize not having something that you in fact have, such as your lunch, your home, or your spouse. You don't, as we have seen, dwell on the possibility of losing these things. You simply allow yourself to have a flickering thought about it. The whole process requires mental effort, and takes only a few seconds. Using this technique will temporarily curb your tendency to take the elements of your daily existence for granted, and will thereby enhance your ability to take delight in the life you happen to be living. As a meditation on death, you could try to imagine what it would be like to not lose your job or your spouse, but your very existence. This, however, is impossible to do. If you have ceased to exist, there is no one left to experience what it is like to be dead. You could alternatively imagine what the world would be like if you had never been born. But this would be mere speculation on your part, unless you had the assistance of someone like Clarence Oddbody, the fictional angel, second class, from the 1946 movie It's a Wonderful Life. Fortunately, there are variants of this negative visualization technique that can play an important role in your death meditations. One, one is what might be called last time meditation, in which you acknowledge that because you are mortal, there will be a last time. There will be a last time for everything you do. There will be a last time you flip a light switch, a last time you eat dinner, and the last time you say goodbye to your parents, spouse, children, and friends. You have already done some things for the last time. There is a very good chance, for example, that you will never again dial a rotary telephone, type on a typewriter, or take a math exam. There will be a last time you lay your head on a pillow, as well as the last time you take a breath.